Lacey lightly applied pressure to the car brakes as she kept a close eye on the trash bag. It was slowly but surely moving closer to the road. She was confused. Was she imagining the movements? Her car had almost come to a halt as she pulled up next to it. She looked out of the window to see what was going on, and that's when she discovered the truth. But hey, before we dive into the story, do yourself a favor and pause the video right now. Go hit that like button and let's see if we can make this video reach 1,000 likes. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to your favorite story channel. Also make sure to ring the notification bell so you never miss out on the latest and weirdest stories. Trust us, you won't want to miss what's coming your way. Now sit back, relax, and prepare to be amazed as we take you on an unforgettable ride. Don't forget to engage with us in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Without further ado, let's dive right in. When Lacey decided to go home that afternoon, she'd only wanted to spend the rest of the day away from all the hassle of work. The hustle and bustle of her life were starting to get to her, and she desperately needed a break. She'd been working throughout the week despite her sickness and couldn't wait to get home. But such a simple drive would result in one of the most life-altering experiences she had ever faced. Lacey, a 35-year-old mom living in Denver, Colorado, was a single parent looking to forge a good life for her small family. Lacey lived with her two daughters, Nancy and Tina. Their life was always quiet given Lacey's occupation as a librarian and the fact that the kids were both under 5. But what would happen that afternoon would propel their lives into the public spotlight. That week, Lacey had come down with a terrible cold, pulling her out of her daily routine. Despite her illness, Lacey didn't shun her responsibilities. She got her kids ready for school, had her sister drive them, and reported for work. But her condition worsened, and her boss sent her home early. It was an hour past noon, and Lacey thought that it'd be a good idea to take her boss up on that offer. She had no idea what was waiting for her on the way home. Lacey got into her car and began her long drive home. As tired as she was, she took a different route home to avoid traffic. As she reached the open road, she noticed something ahead that made her brow furrow. A black trash bag on the roadside immediately caught her attention. As she got closer, she noticed the bag was moving. Lacey wasn't sure if her sickness made her imagine things, or if the bag was truly moving. With the car almost stopping, she stuck her head out of the car window to see what was happening. Something was stuck inside the bag, a creature from the look of things. It was jumping about and making a strange sound. Not knowing what to do, Lacey pulled out her phone and started recording the incident. Her curiosity was telling her to get out and investigate, while her fear kept her rooted to her seat. A minute passed, and Lacey knew she couldn't stay in the car anymore. She threw her door open with the phone recording and carefully took her steps towards the moving trash bag. Out of the car, she could hear growls and snarls emanating from the black polythene bag. At first, she was scared, but then the snarls became whining and crying. She couldn't step away now. Lacey took a deep breath and stepped near the bag. She inched closer and gently poked it with her phone. Whatever was inside it whined, the sound telling her that the animal was in distress. It was clear what she had to do. Throwing all cautions to the wind, Lacey unwrapped the bag as fast as possible. Her mouth hung open wide when she saw what awaited her inside. "Puppy," Lacey whispered, beckoning the tiny fella to her. The pup ran to her and licked her hands while wagging its tail. Lacey helped it into the car while her phone kept recording and drove away. Lacey sent out a notice on her social media about the dog. The puppy had a collar on. Lacey knew that it had been someone's pet. But how did the dog end up in the trash bag on the side of the road? Had it been stolen or intentionally dumped by its owners? Her heart sank as she thought about how cruel and heartless people could be. She shared its photo on Facebook in hopes that its owner would come forward. "If this is your puppy, let me know," Lacey wrote on Facebook. "If you are the scoundrel who put it in a garbage bag and tossed it on the side of the road, you are a sicko." After posting a photo on social media, the first thing Lacey did was take the poor pup to the vet for a checkup. The vet determined that it was only 3 months old and gave it a clean bill of health. Lacey's story was shared so many times that it went viral on social media. Soon she was giving interviews with the media about discovering the puppy. "The bag was tied off in a knot, so I carefully tore a corner and looked inside," she told a dodo. "It was a puppy and he sure was glad to see me. As soon as I opened it up, he saw light and just started wagging his tail. He knew he was okay. I couldn't believe it." Even though her story had gone viral, nobody came forward and claimed the puppy. Lacey wasn't too surprised, but it only confirmed her worst fears. She had a sinking feeling that it was its owner who had actually cruelly dumped it on the side of the road, and she just couldn't wrap her head around why anyone would do such an awful thing. According to the Humane Society, 6.3 million pets are surrendered to animal shelters in America each year. Around 3.1 million are dogs, and 3.2 million are cats. But whoever had dumped the tiny pup hadn't even done the right thing and taken it to a shelter for a chance at life. Abandonment of companion animals isn't just a huge problem in the US, it's a problem worldwide. The best way to help dogs and cats is to spay and neuter your animals to prevent unwanted litters and support your local animal shelter. Millions of dogs and cats are euthanized every year. Spaying and neutering as many pets as possible will ease the overpopulation problem. If you want a pet, don't support animal breeders. Instead, adopt a dog or cat from a shelter. A month passed without anyone claiming the puppy. Lacey and her daughters had already incorporated it into their family. Lacey's video also made her internet famous, with people commending her bravery and heart of gold. Although she recovered from her cold and was glad that such a dark experience had given rise to one of the best things for her family, the puppy, whom they named Pete, was where he was always meant to be. But this wasn't the last time she'd rescue an animal in need. About a year after Lacey rescued Pete, she was shelving books in the historical section at the library she worked at when she noticed something peculiar curled up on one of the shelves. Not wanting to disturb the little critter, Lacey quietly called the library director to confirm that the animal was indeed what she thought it was. He came over and couldn't believe his eyes. Curled up next to a book on the shelf was a cute little brown bat, and it was fast asleep. Lacey, taking care not to wake the sleeping bat, called the local animal service. She patiently waited for help to arrive. Thankfully, Officer Roy Bass arrived 20 minutes later. He was extremely calm and easygoing about the situation, even allowing Lacey to take a quick photo of the bat with the book Bats at the Library. The little brown bat is found all over the northern US and most parts of Canada, and they live in colonies that can grow to hundreds of thousands of individuals. Those colonies will have several different types of roosts, some for resting or napping during the day, and others for shelter at night. The little brown bat only eats insects. How the bat broke into the library for a nap is anyone's guess. It's not uncommon to see bats in libraries in Portugal. In fact, bats are welcome guests, and these libraries' logic is that the bats protect the books from pests like moths and other insects that could damage paper and old manuscripts. However, bats aren't welcome in most parts of the world because of their bad reputation. Bats have been persecuted all over the world. They are thought to be carriers of disease and suckers of blood. But the truth is, bats have an undeserved bad reputation. Contrary to popular belief, most bats don't have rabies. In fact, you are statistically more likely to contract rabies from a dog rather than a bat. What concerns about bats carrying diseases aren't completely unfounded, as they have gotten a bad reputation from the high-profile pathogens they do carry, like Ebola, Marburg, and Nipah, which can be deadly. Nevertheless, bats are a vital part of the ecosystem and help the environment in countless ways. Lacey was an animal lover, and she would always help any creature. So what happened to the bat in the library? The little brown bat that Lacey had found was released back into the wild by animal control. They released it in a nearby wildlife reserve. But this wasn't the only strange encounter for the library staff. Because the library was near a wildlife reserve, they found squirrels in the storytime room and stray cats among the stacks before. Whether you encounter a domestic or wild animal in distress, you should always try to help it if it's safe to do so. If you can't do anything personally, call animal control or someone else who can. Lacey knows that all animals serve a purpose on Earth and are part of a complex ecosystem. Lacey's life had changed drastically from that simple drive home. Her compassion and bravery not only saved a puppy but also brought her closer to her community. Her actions reminded everyone of the importance of kindness and the impact one person can have on the world.